Hello, my little lovebirds. TonyaTko here, and I just decided to make this impromptu video. I was working, and I had this feeling that was weighing on my heart, chest, my soul, and my mind. Well, first it started out as just a small feeling, and then it grew and grew and grew, and I was like, you know what, let me go ahead and make a video because I don't know, sometimes I get this feeling like somebody needs to hear this. So I'm like, okay, let me do the video. And you know I didn't plan on doing a video. I don't even have my eyebrows. I don't have my eyebrows on today. Okay, the topic of today's video is if you're not happy, leave. Leave. And I know that somebody needs to hear this message because today is Friday and we're getting ready to go into the weekend, and there's going to be somebody who is going to go home into a situation in which they're not happy. And I am here to tell you to leave. Let me backtrack for just a moment, right? And one sentiment that I definitely want to make sure that I relay to you is, you know, if the choice is easy, you know, then there really isn't much turmoil or conflict or whatnot. There's no if the choice is easy, there's no uncertainty about it, right? There's no challenge in that. There's no stretching beyond your comfort zone if the choice is easy. It's when you are presented with, you know, some very difficult circumstances in which you're, I don't want to say damned if you do, but damned if you don't as well. You know, yeah, you know, oh gosh. You know, I don't want to talk about my own personal situation because my personal situation is very entangled. You know, as you know, I have been wanting to get my channel branched off from YouTube. But you know, right now we're at the TKO Skin loft. And so I started putting the wheels into motion, you know, to get my pilot done and then to shop it around, etc. Right? But I'm still entangled with the day-to-day of TKO Skin. You know, TKO Skin is my company, it's my baby. I love TKO Skin. And so the decision for me is very difficult because I don't really know how to continue the quality and the namesake and, you know, be able to pick it up, you know, where I left off and still be able to pursue, you know, this thing off of YouTube. So that is what's personal to me. And so I wanted to, I wanted to relay to everybody or to anybody who is feeling a sense of flux or not knowing what to do, etc., etc. I wanted to tell you that it's important to stay true to yourself, and that part of the reason that you are having difficulty with making a decision is because, you know, both options are risky. Staying is risky. Leaving is risky. If you stay, you risk not, you know, fulfilling. If you go, you risk not succeeding. You know, so I'm making a video on that one point, and then also, you know, we've been talking a lot about love lately. And, you know, and I say that, you know, I could have been married by now, but I don't think people really understand what that means. You know, I put a post up on Facebook a little while ago. If you're not on my Facebook page, you can come on over and check out my posts on there. I post, you know, food for thought, and sometimes the things are a little controversial or whatnot, you know. And somebody responded back saying, you know, Anybody who feels that way is not the right person for me, and she can forget it, blah, 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 right? And I think to myself, I would rather be single than to have to deal with that lifelong. You know what I mean? I would rather be single. And so when I think about the situation that existed for me in which I could have been wed, I think about the decision and how hard it was for me to make that decision. It was tumultuous, and part of the reason that it was emotionally tumultuous is because I'd spent a few years in this relationship, and there were things that existed in the relationship that I could not do without. I don't want to give too much information, but you know um my mother passed away when I was 19, so I was left wafting through this world, not really knowing, just clamoring to kind of find myself and figure things out on my own. And I'm writing the book, and then that's another thing. I really want to finish the book. The book, Lessons from a Motherless Child, 10 Most Crucial Secrets About Love, Sex, and Self-Esteem. I had to learn the hard way so that you wouldn't have to. And in the book, which is, listen, I'm in a state of flux right now because I'm not really sure how to implement what it is that I need to implement. But back to the story, I was really young, and here was this amazing opportunity in which I would have been taken care of financially, and I would have, been able to induct myself into a new family, and I would have been able to, I wouldn't have had to worry about my security. I wouldn't have had to worry about, I would have had the direction that my life was going in set. I would have had, a unit. I would have had, a partner, etc. But one thing that I would not have had is the trueness to me, and I tried. Oh God, I tried. You ever You ever tried to make yourself feel something that you just did not feel, and there was no logical reason or explanation for why it is that you don't feel that way? So you try to convince yourself that, yeah, this is okay, this could be good enough. But then there's just something inside of you that just is not happy. Just not happy. And I wasn't happy. When I think, now that I'm a grown adult, and I look back at my life back then, I see what were some of the things that didn't make me happy. We had though we were cool friends, intimately, there was a lot of non-congruence. There was the direction that we were heading in our lives, our values, our goals, the things that, what it was. This is so painful to talk about. Inside each of us, inside you and inside me, there's this spark. There's this spark of what it takes or what it means to be your type of human being. There's this spark that energizes you. There's this spark that you live for. And and though we were good friends and everything was amazing, there was this core part of me that felt unfulfilled. Number one, oh gosh, we were just very different people. And it was like I was so young and I had not become who it was that I am now. I was like a clean slate, but there was this spark on the inside of me that said, no, this is, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like the food of life. And when you're in a certain situation, your soul and what it is that you need as a human being is not nourished, is not fed, is not, I don't know how to put it, but there was a part of me that was left starving in my spirit. And though it didn't matter how I tried to rationalize it, there was a part of me that was left hungry. And I didn't, and I'm telling you, I could have gone forward with it. And deciding not to change it altered the course of my life. It altered the course of my family tree and it affected a lot of people because I wasted a lot of his time, trying to convince myself to feel a completion, to feel a compliment, to feel a nourishing that I just did not feel. I couldn't feel it. It just did not connect. There was a disconnect. There was a fragment. There was a fragmentation. There was just a so listen. I want to tell you, oh God, listen. You have but one job in this life, just one. And that one job in this life is to make sure that you are happy. Oh, listen, honey, listen. That big office, in the high rise, the fancy car, the relationship that looks good on paper, the job which everyone would be envious of from the outside. Oh, honey, listen. Any moment, every day, any second that you spend living a life that is not your life, authentically and truly yours to make you happy, is a day that you live a silent death. Hear me. Any day that you live not true to who you are is a silent death, because you're living in the fantasy of a life that is not yours. And any moment longer than a split second that you live in a life that doesn't feel comfortable to you, that doesn't feel fulfilling to you, is a life that the real you spends dead inside of you. And I'm telling you that you have to do, oh God, listen to me. It won't be easy, because I know how the road of life goes. And the road of life, honey, oh, there's the path of least resistance. And then there's the road less traveled, baby. Oh God, I want to stand up. Listen to me. I'm going to say that again. There's the path of least resistance, and then there's the road less traveled. Which one are you on right now? Are you going along the route which is easiest for you or for other people? Honey, and I know some of you have children. Oh, listen. Oh, honey, the best thing that you can do for those children is to make sure that their mother is all right, or to make sure that their father is all right. Children can pick up on those bad vibes. And the longer you stay inside that situation, the longer you cement and pummel into those children's mind that this is what's normal. Honey, oh God, we don't have much time in this life, and we were sent here to do but one thing: to live out to our soul's fantasy, to live out to what will make our soul happy. And what will make somebody else's life happy, the life that you might be living for somebody else, and they look at and they say, oh, I envy you. Oh, hush your noise. If I were you, I would be happy. Oh, be glad you got a job. Meanwhile, every day that you go into that job, you are dying. Oh, dying a silent death. You know, we wonder where all of these cancers and where all of these tumors and these heart attacks and these high blood pressures and this disease, this dis-ease. Are you living your life with dis-ease right now? I'm going to urge you to leave. And honey, it won't be easy for you. Because honey, it was not easy for me. Honey, oh, no, it won't be easy, but you have to. I did that video on meditation. Ugh. You got to get yourself into a quiet space, and you have to really delve down deep and think about what it is that will truly make you happy. And what works for somebody else may not be the thing that works for you. You may be in a fancy car, but you really may want to be a person who walks around with no shoes, traveling throughout the East with a backpack on your back. You know what? I'm going to say this, and I don't know how anybody's going to take it, right? But you know, I feel really happy and I feel really blessed to be able to provide people with natural, organic, handmade skincare products, and I am ecstatic about that. And when I get into a place in my life where I have more something, I would love to be able to bring this back to people, right? But you guys know me, and you guys know when I'm most happy. You know, and when I just made that reference about the backpack, oh, how my mind instantaneously just thought of green blades of grass and mountains and fresh air and new things. Some people are afraid of transition. I happen to be a person who loves transition. Let me tell you something, right? There's this game called Boggle, and I was telling this to my soul friend a few weeks back. And there's this game called Boggle, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the game, but it's a little 16 square game or 24 square, I don't know. But there are these little cubes in there, these little die that have letters on them, and you shake up the game. It has a cover on it. You shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, and then you let it, and then you set it down. And when you set it down, all of the letters are mixed up all over again, and you have a brand new opportunity. This is how I see it. This is how I see mix-ups in life. And I hope that you can see it in this way too. When life tosses things up and goes blah, presents it before you, there's so many different ways that you can look at it. But I see it as a brand new opportunity to make something happen with a fresh, clean, new slate. All these new letters, and the possibilities are endless. You got endless possibilities. To me, that's how I see it. So I am not a person who is afraid of transition. I feel really bad that that I will be letting people down, and that I am in essence taking the success that I have for granted. But how much time do we really have left in this life not to pursue our ultimate dreams? I want to finish writing my book. I want to branch this off of YouTube onto a network, and this takes my personal time and my personal investment and dedication. And so I need to be able to put this on hold. You ever heard the saying, if you chase two rabbits, you end up losing both of them? You ever heard that? So I want to dedicate myself to at least trying, at least trying. And I'm going to say this before I get out of here, oh man, you know what? And I was telling this to my soul friend the other day. Listen. I happen to be a person, you know what, I You remember I told you guys in that video about the lessons I've learned from relationships that didn't last? You remember I told you about that guy with the baby mama drama, and he looked, oh, he was so amazing looking, but there was just so much dearth and so much emptiness, so much vacancy inside of him. And or rather, he was just so vacant inside, because vacancy sounds a little better than what it was. He was vacant, and there were a lot of things that he really needed to, oops, I'm playing with stuff on my desk. There were a lot of things that he needed to work through as a human being, which he just didn't want to work through, that he instead was covering up. And you know what, the relationship, it seemed like the right thing to do at the time, except my spirit told me, you know, Frenchie told me one thing, my spirit told me another, and my mind said something completely all else. Well, my spirit and my mind were in unison. But anyway, so I ignored, listen, I ignored the signs that I had gotten from my body, especially I ignored the signs from my gut. And so what ended up happening is, you know what? I'm going to tell you guys this story. This is so silly. This is so silly. Okay, listen. When we first got together, right, we were supposed to hook up. And he ended up losing his bag, like his whole bag, his laptop, his phone, everything lost, right? And so we didn't get a chance to hook up because I'm like calling and calling and calling and nobody's answering, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, man, there we go. So, and you know, and he said that put him into a funk, because I was like, why didn't you just check your voicemail and call me back from that number? But he said it put him into this funk or whatever. And even that set up red flags for me. You know, I was like, after all this time, you know, we tried to get together and then that happens. So then what ended up happening after that, this is so ridiculous. Let me tell you, this happened like magic, like magic. I was leaving, okay, I don't want to say too much. I can't give too much details. But I was leaving okay, I was going off. I was going to meet up with him, right? So you know what? Nobody knows where I live. Nobody knows. Especially when we first started dating, he did not know where I lived, right? So I was on my way home and I was going to meet up with him, right? And so I got out the train station and I called him, right? And I was like, okay, I just got out the train station, such and such and such, and you know, and I either called and left a message or I text because I think I was like waiting to come above ground to get a signal. I promise you, the train station, I have to walk down this long hill to get to my place, and the train station, I promise you, I went, you know what, and then I called my dad to say what was up to my dad, or my sister. I called somebody because I remember it was freezing cold. I stopped into a Subway's, right, because I was like, oh, should I wait till I get home to eat, or should I this, that, and the other? I wasn't really sure how I should do it. So I stopped into the Subway's. I had my phone in my hand, right? I swear to goodness, I walked not even a block and a half. I went to go check my phone to see if he had gotten back to me, because I was like, I was five blocks from the train station. I walked like a block and a half, so I still had like 4 more blocks. So I went to go check my phone. Lo and behold, would you believe the phone was gone? I dropped it, lost it, I don't know, within a block and a half. And I looked all over, and it happened like that, right? And I looked all over for it, couldn't find the phone. I had to and I had, you know what, at the time, there's like this Android app. And at the time, I had like this GPS thing on there, in which if you lose your phone, it'll send up like this GPS signal, and you could find it on the computer or whatnot. So I lost my phone. I tried the GPS thing. Somebody had went and turned off my phone. There's a function in which you can force the phone to turn back on, but it has to be, I think that's part of the paid app, and I only had I think it's called where'smydroid.com or something like that. So anyway, so I was like, wow, you know what? I was like, maybe the universe is trying to tell me something, right? And I still ignored it. And then I went on from there, and then just bad stuff started happening. And it was like, first I got the physical cue, then, you know, he lost his whatever, and that sent up some red flags. Then we were supposed to meet up, and I lost my phone, and then so bad stuff started happening, and like, ugh, it was just like one catastrophe after another, and I was like, the universe must be telling me something. And so you know what, the only reason why I tell you guys that stupid story is to get very serious with you, and to relate to you that if you're in a particular situation in which you're trying to make it work, forcing to make it work, and bad stuff keeps happening from the universe, pay attention. Listen. Listen to your inner gut. Listen to your instinct. Listen to the things that are happening all around you. You know, there was, this is very personal for a person who wrote to me. She wrote to me, and there were things that just didn't seem right about her relationship. Just she had a nagging feeling. You know, her intuition was speaking. She had a nagging feeling. Her man was cheating on her. You know, she caught him, right? Oh God, I just got a message from Amazon Marketplace saying not to ship an item that I've already shipped. Ugh. And I can't get it back now. So anyway, so she thought he was cheating. She thought he was cheating on her. And she either caught him before the fact or after the fact, I don't know. She decided to stay with him. The man gave her chlamydia. Warning sign number one, because you can get rid of chlamydia. That is a warning sign from the universe to run, right? But she didn't run. She stayed in it. You know, of course, she has some self-esteem issues or whatnot, you know. But then she ended up with, from the chlamydia, she stayed with him, and he continued to cheat and continued to do all the foolishness. Then, oh gosh, I don't remember. I think she she ended up, I believe, pregnant. And so when she went to go get like her OBGYN or whatever, you know, pregnancy is a big sign from the universe that you know, you better wake up now because this is real. So she went to go get her OBGYN, whatever, you know, whatever it was the case that she went to, whatever feminine doctor it was that she went to. And they pulled her aside. Do you know where this story is going? They pulled her aside, and guess what they told her? They told her she had HIV. HIV and pregnant. She said that she had to take all of these suppressors, you know, she said she had to take all of these pills and these suppressors that did something to make sure that her baby didn't come out with HIV. So now she's HIV positive with a baby. And and so, you know, so now at this stage of her life, you know, she is like coming upon this renaissance. And it's like, I want to ask you, what more does your life need to do to convince you that you need to move, that you need to change, that you need to do something different? Are you going to wait for bad stuff to start happening to you? Or will this video be the catalyst for your change? The universe is sending you this video. Oh my goodness, I made this video because there was something weighing down on me that said that you needed to hear this. So I'm talking to you now. How much more interference, how much more interception from the universe do you need before you make a change? I'm telling you, come up with an exit strategy now. Start strategizing your exit now. If you are not happy, start your strategy. I'm not saying throw cushion to the wind like I did before I moved to Japan. I sold everything out of here. I left. I'm not saying be like me, because, you know, I'm comfortable with transition. Like I said, my boggle game blew whole new opportunities. But no, with you, start coming up with your exit strategy and follow through. Don't let the universe have to start sending you, you know, damning, or life-altering, life-changing, or life-ending clues that this is what you need to do. Remember, you got but one task and one job on this earth, and that job is to live it happily. You are supposed to be happy. You're not supposed to be in suffering, a martyr to the cause. No, leave. Come up with your exit strategy and leave. If you don't have anything tying you to the situation, look, be happy if you guys don't own property together, if you don't have a legal marriage license, and if you don't have children together. If there are no legal entanglements, get the heck out of there now. Now. This is your wake-up call. This is your warning call right here, right now. Get out of there now. Now. Hug me. Oh, I love you guys very much. This is a very hard video to make. Go out there and love one another, but most importantly, love yourself. All of my contact information and details are below. TonyaTko, and I'm out. Peace.